2021 Toyota Vienza Hybrid. Air conditioning on this, 2021 YF refrigerant, 550 grams. This is a hybrid electric compressor. Let's take a look at the compressor here in a second. The temperature of the case. Let's look at the temperatures and pressures here. Right now we're looking at the temperature of the dash right there. It's coming out 36 degrees. Let's see if I could zoom in on that, and let's see if I could get clear. 36.7 degrees, 0.9, 0.9, 0.8. So that is the temperature coming out of the dash. We're going into minute 10, going into minute 11. Let's take a look at your pressures. 32 psi on the low side, 94 psi on the high side. We have a superheat of 4.3, a subcooling of 12.7. Rock steady, not changing at all. Let's take our superheat and subcooling. Look at that. Completely straight. There was one glitch. I guess it turned off or something happened right there. But other than that, the entire time for the last 10 going into 11 minutes, superheat and subcooling have been held really steady. Let's go back. So the temperature of our line coming from the evaporator is 37 degrees. That's coming out of the evaporator. That is right here, this temperature probe right here, and you can see all the water, the condensation line, the water forming on the line right there. Now let's take a look at how hot is the compressor. So I'm going to get down here. You can see the cold line, the black one right there, but let me get way to hell. If I could not touch the fan, don't suck in my cord. Okay, where am I going to get? There's not much room in here. I know I could get it in here. You can see the cold line right there. You can see the case, but let me get you a better picture. Let's go up here. We'll Wi-Fi it up to there. There you go. So you're gonna see what I see. So I'll move the camera down here. You look, you'll see what the camera does right up here. Okay, there we go. So that, you can see the line. There you go. You see that hot spot up there? That hot spot that says maximum 86, 87 degrees up there with the little red bouncing around crosshairs? That is the discharge line coming out of the compressor. That's the temperature there. Okay, it's recalibrating. Then you see that green spot? The green in the center, that's the center of the case. So where it says center and you see the little square, the green square, that is where I'm pointed. And you can see everywhere my green square is, that's the temperature. It's 68 degrees. So the temperature of the case at that point is 68 degrees. Now you see where it says minimum 39 degrees? Let me see if I could point over there. I'm having, the camera moves in the opposite direction of which I move in. So I'm having a reversal issue here. Okay, that's a line. And that's 83, so that must be discharge. Let me get my, I'm trying to get the, there we go, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. What is that temperature? Oh, I can't. I'm having a rough time going backwards. This is like handwriting in the mirror. Yeah, I can't manipulate, but you could actually see the temperature of the case is very, very cool running. And see that black? That black is the hose. And as you can see, where I'm pointing, I'm right next to the hose. Let me pull it out. It's really tight fit in there. As you can see, you see what I see by looking up there. And you get to see that. You can see my fitting right there on the section line. You can see it going all the way back into the expansion valve right there. That's the expansion valve on the firewall. You see, now you see where it says 207 degrees, and you see that red X? You see that red X is on the liquid line. see the liquid line right next to it? Well, we know the liquid line is not 204 degrees. Do you know what you're seeing right there? You're seeing the reflection off shiny aluminum to the exhaust manifold. Right below us is the exhaust manifold. Right there. We're right off the exhaust. You see where it says 320 degrees max, Mal? So this line right at the end of my finger, that's the liquid line. That's not 230 degrees. That is this temperature right here. You see this one right here? This line is that line, not 230 degrees. So let's go back what the real temperature of that line is. The real temperature of that line is 70 degrees. That's the liquid line right there, 70 degrees. That one is this one. Now let me take this and show you. Not 230 degrees like it said in the infrared camera. 71 degrees, right there. That is that thermocouple on that line, not 230 degrees. So aluminum is like a mirror, polished aluminum. Yeah, it's not even polished aluminum. This is more like a matte white aluminum. And because the hot exhaust manifold is right behind that, and our angle of attack, which means like a ricochet angle, when you're playing pool, you know how you hit the wall and it's going to bounce at a 45-degree angle if you come off at a 45-degree angle? Well, right down there is the exhaust manifold, and it's going up, and we have a round tube. And the round tube has a circumference, and at the angle that I was holding my camera, it picks up the hot exhaust manifold reflecting off like a mirror, bouncing back into your window. There's nothing wrong with the device. There's something wrong with the person using it if they don't understand what they're seeing, what can fool them. Just picking up and buying a thermal thermometer, infrared thermometer, or a camera doesn't mean the guy knows how to use it. And things like that can really throw you off. So I just wanted to stress, thermal imaging, whether it's just using infrared thermometers or cameras, can throw you way off if you don't know what your surroundings are, and if you don't understand the devices and the little idiosyncrasies of how they're supposed to be used. And because most guys are kind of lazy, they're kind of cheap, they won't pay for classes to go to thermal classes, they won't go to spend time and watch an hour-long webinar on something, they won't download the paperwork from the manufacturer specifically telling them what to do and what not to do. Because many individuals are lazy, they'll never load that. They'll use something and then they'll spit something out as fact, as a piece of information, when it's not. So you really need to know how to use your tools before you buy them. Study about them a little bit. Go search some webinars on thermology, infrared cameras, whatever you want to call it. Go to the manufacturers and look for if they have webinars and training classes to help guide you along your route. Don't just go buy a tool and start shooting around. Read a little bit. Most of this stuff, what I just showed you, my dad showed me back in the 1970s. So there's nothing new about it. This is old knowledge. Just like using a micron gauge when you're doing vacuum, micron gauges, my dad was taught by an older gentleman when my dad was in his 20s. It was off an analog micron gauge by an older gentleman in his 50s, taught my dad back in the 60s. And that gentleman learned. So all this information has always been around. It's just some crowds, my dad used to say, birds of a feather flock together. So if there's a whole bunch of ignorant people with none of them with any formal education about what they're doing, they learn on, say, the vehicle by breaking stuff, but they never learn right. They just learn how to make it go, make it cold, make it run, make it roll, but they never learn correctly. And that's all I'm stressing them. Read the manuals. All right, guys, I'll see you later. I ain't perfect. I'm a student. I'm learning every day. And still to this day, if you take the Pacific Ocean and you get a teaspoon and you take one teaspoon of water about it, that is my vast knowledge of air conditioning. I only know 1 teaspoon The whole HVAC industry is a very, very large industry, and you could spend 20 years in it and only have a teaspoon of knowledge. All right, guys, see you later.